Welcome to Art with Mrs. Cappel. So today we are going to be doing a really fun demo on how to do like a watercolor effect without paint. And so it's kind of a fun hack if you don't have paint and you want that look, or if you just want to try something different. So I have listed on the screen, you can see the items that you are going to need for today's demo. You're going to need water, paper, a plastic bag. I'm using a ziploc bag or like a snack bag, but you can use any kind of plastic that won't absorb the ink and the water. So it just needs to be a surface that won't absorb this ink and water. Or else it'll like mess up the effect. So you're looking for those items, a pencil, a permanent marker in a dark color, paper towel is a good idea to have that around, or tissue or something absorbent. Brushes, you can use a traditional brush, or you can use a brush that you fill with water. And then 2 to 3 washable markers in bright colors. Those can be any color of your choice, but just make sure they're bright. They're not something that's going to blend in with whatever dark permanent marker you're using. So I'll give you a moment to look at that and what you need, and then we're going to move into today's demo. All right, so I'm going to clear my space, and I'm going to set my supplies off to the side just so they're out of the way a little bit. And as you can see, I have like some different things down on my workspace just so I don't mess it up, because I don't want to mess my desk up and get water on that. So if you're using a surface that you probably don't want to mess up as you're doing artwork and stuff, it's always a good idea to, one, if you have nothing else, at least lay down some paper towels or wax paper or different things like that that'll protect that surface that you're working on. Or if you can get something like this at any art and craft store. It's basically like a large clipboard, and they make them even bigger than this. So if you're working with a larger scale project, it's great for carrying your artwork around and always having a tabletop with you. Or if you are at home and you're working on the dining room table, or something like that your parent or guardian does not want you messing up, you can put that down on top of that. I did that a lot when I was younger. So it's just a good idea to have something like that to protect it, or work in a space that it's okay if it does get a little messy. So just make sure you're not, your parents aren't going to come home to a mess and not be happy with Miss Cappel. All right, so first thing we're going to do is we are going to sketch our word that we've chosen. And if you've looked at the directions for this, you're choosing a word. So it can be any word you want to do. I'm doing fun. And you can see I've done some different ones here, and you can do it, and you can do it in some different fonts. So whatever font you like, I would suggest, if you want to do something different or, silly or whatever, look at some fonts on online, and then sketch those out first using a pencil, and then go over it in your ink. Don't, unless you're really, really confident in your, your lettering skills and stuff, I wouldn't use a I wouldn't use a marker first. Even at my age, I still use a pencil, because we all make mistakes, and it's easy to erase with a pencil. You can't necessarily erase if you're doing it in marker. So let's see. And just do it kind of lightly, and it doesn't have to be like super, super neat, but just so you have an idea of where that is going. You can kind of see I'm doing it like just kind of sketchy, a little sketchy there. I'm going to have mine in, kind of do this little swirl back through thing. And then kind of curve. And then if you need to clean it up, you can do that with that. Okay, so little technique, if you're using, you can use like brush style markers, that's perfectly okay. Or if you want, I'm going to show you a technique that you can do just with your regular like Sharpie or marker. Okay. First, I'm going to zoom it in. There we go. That's a little bit better. All right. Okay, so you're going to take your marker. Once you're happy with, you know, how you've placed your lettering, you're going to take your marker and you're going to just do a thin line over. Whatever the flow is. If you're doing blocky letters, same thing. So you're just going to do a thin line. All right, so I've done a thin line over everything. Now to bring in more emphasis and to make it look a little more like the lettering that I'm looking for, I'm gonna go in and double or even triple up in some places. So I'm first going to go in here, and I'm going to double this line up. I'm going to make it thicker. So you see how that kind of gives that different effect. And you can go in and kind of clean up some of those edges if you aren't happy with how it looks. Okay. I'm just going to go in, open these lines up. You can move your paper around if you need to. Perfectly okay. Whatever you need to do. To get the look that you're looking for. And there's some fun like brush markers and stuff out there that you can order. Some of my favorites are, they actually come from Japan. They're called Tombow, and they're really fun to play around with. So if you're interested in lettering, that's something that would be fun to check into. That is something of interest to you. So because I've got more space here, I'm going to thicken this side of my U. So I'm just gonna like kind of figure out how thick I want it to come out. Like that. And then I'll come in at an angle, and then I can thicken this up as I go. And then I'm going to make this come, I don't like the way that's looking, so I'm just going to kind of make it kind of come off like that. I didn't like how it was just sticking out there. And that may happen as you're going. You may think, you know, this would look a little bit better like this. So you can just play around with it. There's no right or wrong way. It's just however you want it to look and whatever's going to make you happy. And we'll just go off like this. And again, you do not have to do your lettering like me. This is just how I am choosing to do this. You do your lettering the way you want to. So if you're like, I can't do that, it's okay. Just do it however you want to do it, whatever look you like, okay? And it will never look the same. When you're doing these, they're always going to turn out different. I don't know if you can see, that's kind of a similar font, but they don't look the same. So that's just how it goes. You know, sometimes you do things on some days and you're like, oh my goodness, I love how that looks. And then sometimes you're not happy with how it looks, and that's fine. That is life as an artist. Right, and then I'm going to leave this line right here thin, and then I'm going to, right here in this curve, I'm going to like thicken that up. I'm going to do it kind of like that. And some people like to just go beside the line with another line. If you notice, I kind of go a little bit over and leave a white open space, and then I come in and fill that in. Sometimes you can just leave that white open space if you like that look. That's okay too. Does not matter. Whatever makes you happy, whatever look gives you, you know, what you're looking for, that's fine. That's what art is all about, is discovering your style and your unique designs and whatever, you know, makes your art yours and not just a copy of someone else's. And then I'm gonna thicken this curve right here and give that a little bit of character. And then taper it off. So you see how I left that, I've got that white section in there. So you could come and where you're doing your thicker parts, you could leave that white open area in there, or you can do like I'm doing and fill it in. It just depends on the look you're going for. And if this is something that interests you, there's all kinds of people that actually like make money doing this kind of stuff. Like for holidays or events or whatever, they've taught themselves how to do lettering and different things, and they make signs and decor and all that kind of stuff for people. I'm gonna thicken that one up too. Okay. All right, so now I think I'm happy with my lettering, okay? And so the next thing you're gonna do is, if you use permanent marker, you can do this next step. If you did not use permanent marker, you need to, I should have said that before. If you're not using permanent marker for this step, then you wait to do your lettering until you are done with the next step that we're gonna do. If you use permanent marker like you should have, then you're fine. So what we're gonna do is, I'm gonna turn my Ziploc bag over, okay? So that, because you know, sometimes they have like a label on them. So I like to flip it over on the side opposite the label. And then I like to put it over top of, so it's not, my thing's not inside of it, it's just underneath it. So I like to put it over top so that I can kind of see where my lettering is and kind of plan out like a design based on that. All right, so next thing you're gonna do is you are gonna take, now that you've placed your Ziploc bag, you're gonna take your washable markers, okay? So I'm doing these 3 colors. Let's see, what colors do I have? I have violet, raspberry, and iguana green, okay? So you're gonna take your washable markers, and it's gonna look a little random at first, but you are just gonna take your marker and you're gonna kind of squiggle color on there, okay? And there's no set pattern to this. This is purely up to you, or, you know, let your hands tell you where the ink is supposed to go on the bag. Okay, so you can just kind of squiggle your color in there. Again, there's no right or wrong way to do that. You can do some small spots. I would recommend with your darker colors, you can do like a smaller areas, because that color will like really pop. Raspberry color in here. More raspberry over here. Put a little dot there. There. We'll squiggle there. Squiggle there. Then you come back in with some more of your other colors. Like I said, just have fun with this. There's no set way to do it. So I think for this one, I'm wanting to have a little bit more of that green color popping in there. And that's okay, whatever you want to do. Whatever you think looks good for your masterpiece. All right, so I think I'm happy. And I'm gonna take this, pick it up, and I'm gonna set it to the side, okay? All right, the next thing I'm going to do is you can take a regular paintbrush with water, okay? Or you can take one of these brushes. If you take one of these, basically what you're gonna do is you're just gonna squeeze, and you're gonna like let drops of water come out. If you can see that, there's like drops there, okay? If you're using a regular paintbrush, it's kind of the same thing, except you would have to dip your brush in water, okay? You get a lot of water on there, all right? And then you're just putting drops down, okay? And then you can kind of spread the drops out a little bit if you want to. And Put some drops on there. Okay. Don't want to overdo it with your water, or else your paper will be soggy. And if you're using a thinner paper like printer paper or just regular paper or sketch paper, your paper might rip. So you want to be very conservative with the amount of water you put on your paper, depending on how thick your paper is. So I'm actually using watercolor paper. I'm using a little pad that I got at the craft store. So you can see this normally sells for like $3.49. I got it for 50% off, so definitely shop sales, but it's just watercolor paper. I don't know if you want to see the details there. So it's just some basic watercolor paper. It's nothing like super fancy, but let's see if you can see. So you can see how thick it is there. So it's thicker than your average like printer paper. So because of that, I can put a little bit more water on than I would if I were using just regular paper, okay, or mixed media paper. Yep. And then we'll just kind of spread those drops out a little bit. All right. So now what you're gonna do is you're gonna pick this up from the side. This is the side that has our ink on it. We're going to flip it, okay? So I'm gonna put my water to the side there. And then you're gonna lower it down on top of your paper. And as you do, you're gonna start seeing, you see how the ink's moving around a little bit. See how it's kind of starting to spread there. So as it hits that water, that ink moves around. The more water you put down, the more it'll spread and blend. The less water you do, the more you'll just get some little like blooms and stuff. And if you're not happy, like if you realize, oh, I didn't put enough water on here, okay? You can always come in and add some more. Okay. If you're like, I need it to look a little bit better, you can add some more water in there. And I don't know if you can see how it's kind of bleeding into the other colors here. See that happening? So it's getting that watercolor effect. All right, there we go. All right, I'm gonna go up here. A little bit more water in here. There we go. All right, and now you see how it's kind of like blending in. So you can let those colors blend if you want to. If they start blending and you're like, ooh, I do not like those colors together, it's fine. You can lift it up. Okay, so I just kind of use my fingers and kind of rub the color around a little bit to blend it some. And you can get some really fun, cool effects that way. Now, when you are happy with how it's blended, and you're like, I think I'm good with that, you just lift your bag up, and it's gonna drip some. So you see how it's dripping there? That's where this paper towel comes in handy. So then you can just grab and lift, and it actually creates some cool little patterns in there. So grab and lift, and if you want to like lighten up some of the brightness of the colors in there, you just use your paper towel and lift that color up. Okay? And that's just another technique that you can use. So it lifted that color up. You want to do that some more if you can, if you want to. You don't have to. And it'll just give you some different looks. That kind of lightens it up, makes it a little more pastel. And then just make sure you like clean your little baggie before you lift it and it drips on the carpet or something. So I actually will clean it, and that way I can reuse it. So I'm not just like a one and done kind of a thing with my baggie that I use for this technique. And then I can set it to the side. So there's that one. And I'll show you some other ones. So these are just some other techniques. So these are just some other styles and techniques that you can do. And all these were done the same way, using that same method. The more ink you put on your bag, the more vibrant colors you're gonna get. The less ink, the more of a pastel look. So I was wanting to go more for a pastel look in this one. And that's why you can kind of see those colors aren't as vibrant. I picked it up more with the paper towel and that kind of stuff. With these, I put a lot heavier of a coating of my washable marker on the bag, and then I put a lot more water on them. So whatever look you're going for, just have fun. Here, you can kind of see, now that this is starting to dry, you can see some of these. You can kind of see where I picked it up with the paper towel. You get these really cool, like, speckling of color in there. And I'll compare it to, you see here, that wasn't really picked up as much. I did pick it up a little bit, like where it was bleeding off of the paper and stuff. But here, I really used that paper towel to give it even more of an effect. So you can see the kind of speckled look that you get going on in there. That was just from picking it up with the paper towel. So there's all kinds of fun techniques you can do. When we actually get into like watercolor and stuff, I'll show some other techniques with things like salt and stuff that create really cool effects. But this was our tutorial on doing like a fun little word art, our one-word artwork with washable markers in a watercolor effect. So have fun with this, and as always, if you have any questions, feel free to contact me.